People are buying affiliate sites again, and it could be because of the low cost to get started, the low cost to continue growing the business. You don't need to buy in inventory, and it's relatively passive nature once you get it going. But there are differences in terms of the quality of affiliate sites, and these are definitely differences you should know because some of these differences can make one site a better fit for you or a better fit for another person. So these are the 5 different questions, 5 different areas you should be looking at when evaluating the quality and the fit of any affiliate site that you're looking at. First is the niche. So this is about who is the target audience, what is the content about, who are the competitors in the market. First, what you want to look at is, am I in an evergreen niche? More specifically, am I not in a fad pretty much? So ideally you want to be in a niche that's going to last for years to come. This is why you're investing in an online asset so that you can reliably expect a monthly income and to be able to grow that. So look at the niche itself. Is it a relatively broad niche, or is it something that's super specific to maybe one particular kind of product, maybe one type of supplement, one, I don't know, like a fidget spinner or something like that? Or is this something a little bit more broad, related to something like health or finance or food or education? And next, in addition to that, is looking at the domain name itself. You want to buy a domain name that is specific enough to where if somebody were to look at that domain, you could imply what kind of content that site would be writing about. But you don't want the domain name to be so specific that you're pigeonholing yourself into talking about one specific kind of product, like bestelectrictoothbrushes.com or something like that. Maybe something a little bit more broad, something related to dental visits or hygiene or personal wellness, health. And last, related to the niche is it something that you're interested in? So this might be less relevant if the site takes less of your own time to operate. And some of the sites on Empire Flippers, they do actually only require maybe like an hour or 2 per week or even per month. Some of these sites require virtually no work because the seller currently isn't adding any new content. So if that's the kind of investment that you're trying to make, maybe that's less important for you to actually be interested in the content. But if you do plan to grow the business in any capacity, you're going to have to create the content or hire people to write the content. You're gonna have to research the market, perform keyword research, and understand how to outperform your competitors. And this is important because if you don't, well, regardless of if you do or you do not, your competitors will be trying to do that against you. So it's going to be important that it's something that you're going to be willing to adhere to if your goal is to grow the site. Second, you want to look at traffic sources. So first is the diversification of traffic. Now, most affiliate sites, they drive a majority of their traffic organically through Google, most likely. So that's not a problem, but it's a really good thing, a good sign if a site is driving traffic through other sources, through direct sources such as an email list, through social media, or maybe even through paid sources. It shows that the site is capable of driving traffic through paid sources. And this is important because if one of those traffic sources is impacted for some reason, even Google organic search, I know a lot of people right now are worried about how ChatGPT is going to affect SEO and just driving organic traffic. Well, that's still relevant to a site that has additional traffic channels, but it's less likely that should that traffic channel decline, the organic channel, that the business overall will be crippled pretty much compared to a site that drives all of its traffic organically. And you also want to look at the quality of the traffic itself. So if it is driving traffic organically, within that organic traffic, is it driving traffic from other reputable sites? Is it driving traffic from maybe unrelated or kind of spammy looking websites? Those are, if it's the latter, those are indications that maybe the site is using some black hat techniques in order to drive traffic, and that would leave it vulnerable to Google algorithm updates in the future if it hasn't already been impacted. But that's another thing to look at with your site is, has it already been impacted in the past? So looking at past traffic performance, have there been any noticeable sharp drops or any sharp spikes? Sharp spikes, we'll start with that. Sharp spikes might indicate that, not always, but something nefarious is going on in the sense of maybe backlinks were purchased. And sharp drops especially if you see that after some of those sharp spikes, could indicate that the site was negatively impacted by a Google algorithm update as a result maybe of that tactic from the past. So looking just at those different spikes, it's a good thing to take note of, especially as you have a conversation with a seller for any site that you're interested in. And you also want to look at the traffic patterns. Are you seeing just over the year, is it more like a seasonal business, which can be normal for certain sites, especially for example, like water sports sites. You're naturally going to see a lot more traffic during the summertime and potentially virtually no traffic during the wintertime. And that's not a bad thing. You just need to be able to budget accordingly if that's the kind of business or the kind of content site that you're going to be taking on. Because if you're hiring writers, then you might want to make sure that a majority of your expenses, you'll be paying a lot more of those during the summer times when you'll have profit in order to cover those expenses. But also, you'll be able to see more longer term, is this traffic generally stable? Is it on the incline or is it on the decline? And this can indicate whether you are actually in an evergreen niche or if you're in a niche that's more of a fad. And lastly, related to traffic are the traffic acquisition costs. So this is specifically what is for any paid traffic, so if you're running advertising specifically, is that pretty much, is it profitable? In most cases, you'll want to see that you are driving profitable traffic to your site, unless maybe in the past this was just used as a temporary marketing channel in order to boost organic ranking. So that's one thing, but if you're seeing a business that is consistently driving paid traffic as part of its ongoing operations, but just over time it's become unprofitable in order to run that traffic, maybe what was working for the business before and made it profitable before is no longer actually working, and that it's becoming a less profitable business. So that's just something to look for when you're looking specifically at paid traffic. Number 3, what is the performance history of the site? So you want to look at the history of earnings. Now at Empire Flippers, we will provide you with usually a 12-month estimate of the average monthly net profit. And you'll want to look a little bit closer though, because this is an average, right? So you want to look at what was the site making maybe the year prior or the year prior to that. In some cases, we have to use a shorter than 12-month average because the site is maybe extremely new, or the business changed in such a significant way to where a 6-month window was more indicative of the current state of that business. So the average can only tell you so much. So look at the details of each month. And you also want to look at the conversion rates. So this can typically, for an affiliate site, indicate if you have a higher quality site, one that is performing as it should. Is it engaging your audience? So is your audience actually reading the content? And then are they clicking on the affiliate links? Now, if you're seeing that the conversion rate is lower, but it's still driving a high amount of traffic, this actually might be a good thing because it could be a growth opportunity for you to where if you're seeing a lot of traffic and they're just not converting well, you might be able to just come in and improve either just the design of each of the pages or improve the content somehow, compared to a site where the business is fully optimized and you aren't able to easily score those wins by improving design just to increase the conversion rate. And that gets into number 4, which is what is the quality of the content on the site? So look at the website, look at the content, and for yourself, look at it as from the perspective of the reader. Is this actually engaging content? But then also look at this from an SEO perspective. Is the content relevant? Is it outdated? Are you targeting the right keywords based upon your SEO keyword research? Now, again, these are growth opportunities if you're seeing that a site is simply outdated, like maybe the seller just hasn't been working on the site at all. And maybe all you need to do is something as small as update the dates on the pages themselves, maybe not the content itself. But also when looking at the content, you do want to look out for red flags such as duplicate content, plagiarized content, anything that you think could leave you vulnerable to a Google algorithm update in the future, assuming the site hasn't already been hit by one. And this leads to area number 5, which we've talked about extensively already, but it's what are the growth opportunities in the business? This is ultimately what you're looking for if you're trying to buy a site that you want to increase the valuation of. You want to buy a site where you can increase the monthly profit, whether you want to just hold on to that business to just make more monthly profit, or if your plan is to flip the site. You want to look for these wins, and this can be in the form of just looking at the current product offerings and can you expand the product offerings, whether that's affiliate. Could you add more display advertising revenue if the site's maybe not even using display advertising? Tapping into new traffic sources, maybe does it have an email list that hasn't been even monetized at all or hasn't really been used? Maybe you could start running some paid advertising. Or as I mentioned before, thinking of ways to improve the user experience by making more relevant or highly polished content. So armed with these 5 areas, I recommend just looking at sites now to practice evaluating sites with this information in mind. And you can do that for free just by going on Empire Flippers. You can look at our marketplace of businesses. You don't have to even create an account. You can see some of the basic information of a business, the performance history regarding revenue and traffic, some of the details of the business. Of course, if you want to learn more about the business, if you find a site that does have potential for you, you can create a free account with us, and then you can even unlock that listing to see what the website is, to look at the actual P&L. So I recommend doing that. But then if you do have any questions about a specific site, or you want to actually just speak with somebody about what exists on the marketplace and match that with your needs, you can speak for free again with one of our sales advisors on the buy side. No pressure to buy anything. You can just tell them about what your budget is, what your goals are, what type of niche you're looking for, and they could potentially assist you in making a purchase decision based upon what they know exists on the marketplace. And especially right now with layoffs and a potential recession, this could be the perfect time to really start looking at buying a business in order to make yourself a little bit more recession proof, or to even develop the career that you are currently working in. And if you want to learn a little bit more about that, I've created a video recently about how to develop your career during a layoff or during a recession, and how building or buying a business could be a protective mechanism for you from future layoffs. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.